Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really delighted to introduce Nichole from Houston, and she is the CEO of SOS Franchising. We're going to hear all about what it is, what she does, and how to connect with her. This podcast is great for small businesses showcasing their work, and so Nichole, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here. I want to say that your podcast is amazing. I've listened to several episodes and now I can't stop. And I think you really help people make decisions in their lives and teach people things that they otherwise wouldn't know. This information is invaluable. I think you're incredible.
Thanks so much. And briefly introduce yourself and what SOS Franchising does.
Sure. So if you are an inspiring entrepreneur with a heart for impact, you don't just want a business, you want something that means something. This is definitely for you. So I own SOS Franchising, and I help purpose-driven people open their own autism therapy treatment centers. And I use my purpose to profit franchise method, completely proven, tried and true. It removes all the guesswork, all the legal red tape, all the fear of failure. And we offer hands-on training, support, a full marketing team, so that when you open this business, you won't be building it alone. You'll have all these teams and backed by a model that has been proven and is already changing lives. So I help people build businesses that transforms their communities. It helps you build meaningful income, and of course, creates a legacy that you can be proud to say you're a part of.
Interesting. And we'll dive right into it and talk about the ABA therapy business, how fast it's growing, and what sort of niche it's creating within the franchise industry.
Absolutely. So as you may know, the rates of autism diagnosis are just skyrocketing. And the CDC just recently released a report that estimates that 1 in 31 children are diagnosed with autism. Possibly more could have it, but 1 in 31 are diagnosed. And of course, the biggest question people ask me are, more kids with autism now than there were back then. I don't know if there were more or less kids back then, but we're finding them now. And the fact is that all of these kids need treatment. And because the rate of diagnosis is exponentially growing, the number of providers that are opening treatment clinics for these kids are not keeping up with the demand. So nationally, if you add up all the kids that have autism that need the treatment and all the number of providers that offer it, we only meet 33% of the demand. And so 66% of kids that need the therapy either can't access it, they're on wait lists for years and years, or there's just no providers anywhere near them. I am an autism mom, and I experienced said wait lists, and I opened the very first Success on the Spectrum 10 years ago for her, noticed how great the need was, and decided to franchise, and I am the very first franchise for autism treatment in existence.
Interesting. Yeah, my cousin has autism, and I think I have a little bit of a spectrum of Asperger. I lie on that spectrum. The other question I have for you is, with these, you obviously talked about this great needs. And so talk about what type of franchise individual or business owner, entrepreneur would be the great fit for this type of franchise.
So we have a lot of people that are interested in businesses that help children. It's such a noble cause, right? People who were previously pediatricians looking to get out of the whole medicine portion, being stuck in a clinic. People who own daycares enjoy franchises like this. And some people who have the preschools. These things are a little bit different than what we offer. So the kids with autism typically need therapy 40 hours a week. So they come to us instead of school. And just like a daycare, mom drops you off in the morning, picks you up in the afternoon, but insurance reimburses for the child's time at our clinics. And whereas a daycare, you could probably get $2,000 a month from parents to pay for tuition, insurance pays $10,000 a month for ABA therapy, which is what we do. It's the golden standard for autism treatment. And these kids getting ABA therapy need one-on-one instruction, because unlike a classroom where there's one teacher and 30 kids, you can't cater to the needs. Every autistic kid is different. They can be very high functioning verbally, but not functionally, or they'll be very good with education, but not very good with this or that. And so every curriculum we build is completely personalized to that kid, and each one gets their own technician working with them at all times.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Yeah.
It's a very high people model. And so we're looking for people. It's a people business. We need people skills to come in and run the employees and talk to parents.
Yeah. You meant you love the ABA therapy, and again, a lot of the ABA therapy industries is dominated by private equity groups. And what makes SOS different?
Lots and lots of private equity. It's a very hot merger and acquisition sector. ABA is actually the fastest growing sector in the medical industry right now. And so PE sees all this ability to make profit, and they're building these huge companies. And of course, like all PE, quality goes down and profit goes up, and they treat their employees like trash. And so SOS Franchising, or Success on the Spectrum, the brand, is very different because each location is individually owned. We require owner-operators, and so the CEOs are going to actually be reachable. It's not some billing department out in the distance that screws you and hands you the bill and says, go kick rocks. We're actually here to talk to parents and to comfort them and to give personalized care to these scared parents, terrified parents, and their children. So I think that personal touch means everything to a frightened parent with a child that's freshly diagnosed, but also having the CEO on site, you tend not to sacrifice the quality for the dollar, because the kid is in front of you and you see them 8 hours a day and you fall in love with these kids. And when you hear them say their first word or the first time they try something other than a chicken nugget, I mean, your heart comes out of your chest. There's not a dry eye in the room. It's absolutely incredible to be a part of something where you actually see your patient getting better and you see them making profit and you really feel, God, look at the difference that I made. It's incredible.
Yeah. You mentioned favorable government regulations, and the other kind of question is for parents or listeners or viewers that, have kids with autism or are on the spectrum, they can check out your programs. For investors, they're always looking for kind of a growing market, crisis resistant. And so what sort of risks or crises or tailwinds would be applicable to SOS?
Fantastic question. So because we are a medical service, we are essential healthcare. And during COVID, we were able to stay open and continue serving our clients. We do not rely on disposable income. Parents don't need to be able to afford the daycare to come here. Even Medicaid pays just as well as the commercial Blue Cross Blue Shield policies. And so any parent is able to afford ABA therapy. It doesn't rely on them keeping their job or having disposable income. It doesn't matter if COVID has a lockdown or not. It is essential healthcare. So it's essentially recession-proof. And nothing is 100% guaranteed, of course, but compared to the restaurant industry, I think it's 40% of businesses close in the first year and 60% after that. I have never once, we have currently 66 open and running locations. We've never had a financial failure, not even close. It's a steady, guaranteed payment. And it's behavioral health. It's quite a bit easier to collect from insurance rather than as opposed to cardiology or any other kind of medical doctor. It's a little bit easier. HMOs pay the same as PPOs. It's just a flat rate you get assigned by the state. Very easy. You get pre-authorization for up to 6 months at a time. And because you're seeing the same kids all day, every day. And it becomes very repetitive, very easy. There's 4 billing codes. 4. So it's very easy and you're guaranteed to get paid. There's no parent that's going to walk away and stiff you. Insurance has to pay.
Interesting. The other, because you mentioned Medicare, Medicaid, and a lot of these government-sponsored programs, and obviously with Trump, how are you dealing with that sort of tailwind or headwind?
Everybody is so scared about all of these changes, and understandably. ABA therapy, the sector of behavioral health, is in such high demand. It would be absolute political suicide for anyone, any governor, any mayor, any president to ever suggest cutting the budget for ABA therapy. It's a huge topic in the news, right? Autism is suddenly very trendy. And so it gets a lot of attention. And so year after year, since I've started the company, which 10 years, every year our reimbursement rates get higher and higher. Every single year it goes up, which is the opposite of most medical practices. I think all doctors get paid less and less to do the same thing every year. But this is going the opposite way. And it's because of the demand. And we're nowhere near to meeting this demand. We'll never meet the demand in my lifetime, ever. The rate of diagnosis is going up. And what's interesting is United Healthcare, probably in efforts to have an excuse to not pay for ABA therapy, they did a study. And they said, we're paying all this money, $10,000 a month, for years of this kid's life. Why should we do this? Does it actually have any long-term benefits? And this study actually shot them in the foot because it proved that paying for ABA therapy when a child is young saves them millions of dollars over a lifetime, because you don't need assisted living. They can live on their own now because their health is better because they ate more than just chicken nuggets. And so even if they decide that they're going to make budget cuts to a Medicaid program, they will not cut ABA therapy because it does ultimately save them money down the line.
Yeah, interesting. So we'll talk about later on. What experience does one need to become an SOS franchise owner?
Great question. When I started this business, I was an autism parent, and that was it. I'm a nuclear medicine technician, so I had no background in ABA or autism whatsoever. And it was hard, and I made a lot of expensive mistakes, and I learned a lot of things the hard way, and I had to rely on other people to help. But with a franchise, you really don't need any experience. You just need people skills. As a CEO, you're going to be doing all of your own hiring and firing, performance reviews with employees. You're going to do a little bit of your own books. You're going to do payroll, pay the bills, keep the lights on. We show you how to do everything. So if you have the people skills to manage staff, that's all you need to come in.
Interesting. What about in terms of needing ABA experience, degrees, licensing? Obviously, healthcare is very highly regulated, very bureaucratic. What about regulations on the franchise owner?
Opposite of what you think, the ABA industry is not regulated at all. It's terrifying. And I think this is where private equity really enjoys sneaking in there. But you do need to hire a medical professional. If you bought a family practice, you need a family practitioner. And so we help you hire board certified behavior analysts, and your business submits claims to insurance underneath their license number. So you as a CEO don't need any degrees, any certifications, any licenses. Your business doesn't even need any licenses, which is scary, but it is fact. You completely operate underneath your employees, and we had several of them. And of course, as a franchise, we cross-credential and we back each other up. So if one behavior analyst goes on maternity leave, gets transferred away with her husband, or quits all of a sudden, you still have backup and have time to hire somebody else to replace them because your sister locations, we got you back.
Yeah. The follow-up question I have for you is because for example, there's a lot of regulations where like they prevent doctors from owning like certain, you cannot have doctor-owned hospital or like these surgery centers. What can a franchise owner be a physician?
Yes, they can be a physician, but they don't have to be. And the only state that has anything to say about that is the state of New York. In the state of New York, you have to be a behavior analyst to own an ABA clinic, but that does not apply to any other state. And other states are discouraged from having laws like this because the need is so great. You don't want to restrict businesses from opening. We need more. We need so much more. And so you don't need any credentials at all. There's no requirements at all. You just need to at least employ someone who is licensed.
Yeah. And talk about active involvement in terms of franchise owners? Are they required to be there full-time, part-time? Talk about that.
Yes. My franchise specifically does require owner operators. And I'm a firm believer that this is not the kind of business that you just set it and forget it. This is not a passive income type of thing. We do want you to be actively involved. We want you hiring your own employees. We want you in the clinics, not all the time, but most of our CEOs work about 30 hours a week, some from home, some from the clinic. But basically, because I'm not a provider myself, the things that I do when I walk inside of my own clinic, I say hello to my employees. I fuss at who needs to be fussed at. And I'm basically janitor and maintenance at that point. I'm changing light bulbs. They come to me to fix the internet when it has I'm IT at the clinic. But your employees always look to the owner to fix their problems and answer their questions. And you have to be available to them all the time. You don't have to be in person all the time, but available to them. And that's what makes a good company work. Low turnover when you're actively involved. No one's going to love your business as much as you. No one's going to do as good of a job as you. And so we do require that to keep up our quality.
Interesting. So talk about just approximate cost to sign up and talking about length and financing and what support you provide for franchisees.
Absolutely. So our initial franchise fee is $50,000. You pay that upfront, and that includes all of your training and the training for your key staff that you hire, your office manager and your behavior analysts. It includes all of your marketing. It includes a free grand opening video, all kinds of things. To run the business, you need about $500,000, depending on what state you're in. Obviously, New Jersey is going to cost more than Texas, but let's say $400,000 to $500,000. And so we have partnerships with several banks that offer really good rates with startup business loans. And we've even negotiated down to 10% down payment. So the $50,000 that you give to us counts as your down payment. The bank funds the rest, which is really great. And that $500,000 or $400,000 includes all of the startup costs plus 6 months of operating expenses. And to make profit, you only need about 8, 9, 10 clients, which you can get very easily. So obviously, most of our centers reach that cash flow point at about the 5 or 6 month mark.
Interesting. And how much will it, in terms of choosing the SOS center, how much will it cost? How do you choose it and set it up?
Yeah, obviously, a lot of franchises don't allow people to own their own buildings because the franchising company wants the building equity. We're different. We allow you to own your own building should you choose to purchase one. But for people's first clinics, they usually choose just to rent office space from the beginning. So we have a whole real estate team that helps you choose the correct or appropriate area for your clinic. We help you design the layout. We offer you a lot of hands-on assistance to make sure you're in the right spot and have the right number of rooms to efficiently fit as many kids as possible into that space.
Yeah, interesting. So people that are interested, inspired by this podcast, either listening or viewing, and where could they go to find more resources, either YouTube or blog or podcast, and learn more about SOS?
Absolutely. We have a wonderful website. You can either visit successonthespectrum.com or you can go to sosfranchising.com. And we have a ton of learning materials and videos that you can watch that explain every facet of the process, how to become a franchisee, how much support you'll be getting, and what to expect throughout the entire process. We do have several YouTube channels as well that tell you what ABA is and help give you a better picture of what life as a CEO would look like.
Wow.
But we do have a very special offer today. We have a phone number on our website. It is 832-975-1999. If you text the word podcast to this number, 832-975-1999, then we have a special offer just for you. Every franchisee or potential franchisee that is very serious and is a good fit comes on what we call a discovery day. And so if you text podcast to that number, we will buy a flight to Houston for you to tour our headquarters and spend a day with me and do an in-person discovery day where we view what the buildings look like. We let you see the kids running around, give you an example of what life as a CEO in an SOS center would look like. And we help you make your decision. Is this for me or no? So that's the great offer we have for your listeners today.
Wow. Thanks so much for interesting, and it's always great to hear about new endeavors and ventures, and thanks so much for coming on and sharing your expertise.
I appreciate your hospitality, and I love the show. Again, guys, if you have not given Dr. Lou a 5-star review already, please go and do that now. We love the information that we get from you, and we hope to build futures together with you.